Hi, my name's Catherine, and this is the Blue Box Stitcher, my new floss tube. For my first video, I wanted to make a WIP parade of everything that I've worked on. And it's not going to be as large as other people's because although I am obsessed with stitching, I don't actually stitch 500 stitches a day as much as I would love to. So yeah, I'll just get into it, and then after the WIP parade I thought I'd go into a little bit more about me and more of like an introduction. So I wanted to go in chronological order, so some of these older ones are kind of in timeout, but this is basically the first real cross stitch I ever did that was like from an Etsy pattern. He's like a cute little frog. It's from this, I don't remember the designer on Etsy, but he's not finished because I didn't have two of the green colors, and then I just never got them and finished them. This was like a year and a half ago, I want to say. So maybe one day the frog will get finished. He's supposed to have like an umbrella made out of a leaf, and I'm actually like kind of feeling inspired to see if I have those colors, but I just have to like find the pattern in my email first. And it's on 14 count Aida. I only stitch on Aida. I'm not a linen stitcher. I want my crafts to be as low stress and minimal effort as possible. And so I have no desire to start stitching on linen. But it's on 14 count, the like printed Aida from Michaels, where they have like 3 different color variations. And this is like the pink and purple one. So very cute. I used it to make a lot of bookmarks for my friends too. This second one I started a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it's another pattern from Etsy, and I'll put the picture up if I can find it. I need to consider what I want to do with this because it's quite large and it was actually too big for the stage that I was at in my stitching when I started it. It was going to be a wedding gift. Quickly realized that was not possible. The wedding happened. I lost all steam, and I'm not really sure what to do with it because it is a beautiful pattern. But the thing is, it's also an 18 count Aida, and this was my first time doing anything other than 14 count, and it's just 18 count Ava that I got off Amazon, which I would not recommend. I don't really like to buy things from Amazon in general, particularly not crafty things. And I did not recommend this Aida. So it's like super stiff and it actually kind of hurts my hand to stitch on, which is another reason that I lost steam on it. And so I don't really know what I'm going to do about her. Like, she is really pretty, but also I hate this Aida. I did see Cross Stitch the Globe. Stephanie said that if you put like starchy Aida in boiling water, then it makes it softer. And so then I have been considering taking this out of retirement and boiling it because the color is just a DMC, so it should be color fast, and seeing if that would help the stitching experience on this. But this is in timeout for now. Possibly forever, but we'll see. My next one, this is the first piece of hand-dyed Aida that I ever bought, and I think it's so beautiful. I did buy it from a store, and so I don't have like a record of the purchase. Is this upside down? It goes like this. I don't have the record of the purchase, so I don't know what Aida this is, but this is also 18 count, and it's hand-dyed, so it's like way more enjoyable to stitch on. And I'll put a picture of the pattern up. I also forgot the name of the designer. Basically my markup XP, well, I had, my phone died over the summer and I had to get a new phone. And so then all my progress and charts were lost on markup RXP, and I haven't really like taken the time to log them. So after this chart, I know everything because they're new and I put them in markup XP, but I'm also using a Notion to track my stitching now, so I'm hoping that will keep me more organized. But this is basically like a frog, and he's under mistletoe, and he's like an ugly little frog, and I love him so much. I love my stitching on this. Like, here, I'll put you in close. I think it's so beautiful. I love the 18 count. 18 count is a little bit harder for me to stitch on. I can't stitch like as long on it. And so I did not finish him. I wanted to pull him back out this December, but my next WIP prohibited that. So he has not been worked on since like March, technically in a bit of a timeout, but it's coming back out soon once I figure out how to put him back into Markup RXP and log on my stitches. As a bonus, I have a little finished guy on the back. This is the, you can't get it anymore. It was like an exclusive for Trans Day of Visibility, but it's a trans cuttlefish. I think made by D's 20 Stitches. And he's so beautiful. And he's one of my only finishes. I also don't like to cut my fabric. It scares me, so. She's so cute. I love her. Okay, now we're getting into more everyday WIPs, not in timeout. This next one, I started, see, this is where the tracking happens. I actually know. So I started this guy June 1st. It's Adventure Awaits by Tiny Modernist. And let's get this right side up. Oh, before I show it, it's 3 days before Christmas, but this is a Christmas present. So if you're my twin brother, look away. Okay. This is Adventure Awaits by Tiny Modernist. I have a love-hate relationship with this pattern in that it's not for me. It's for my brother for Christmas. And I'm not really an outdoorsy person, so I feel no connection to this. But I'm excited to give it to my brother, but it's also by far the biggest thing I've ever attempted to make. I started it in June with the intention of working on it a little bit each month, so then it would be like super manageable. That did not happen. I worked on it for like 500 stitches in June, didn't work on it in July, didn't work on it in August, tried to work on it a little bit in September to get my act in gear, and then October, and then particularly November and December, it was like all hands on deck. And let me fold it so you can get like a better view. I, again, just like feel, the thing is that I stitch very slowly, and so I need to be like in the chart. Like I need to be like, I love stitching on this, and this makes me quite stressed right now. I only have a little bit left. It is like 3 days before Christmas, but I ran out of this white thread that is the outline here. That's basically everything that I need to do. And then I need to do the 2 arrows here at the bottom, but that's it. And I love her. I've done 92.7%. And oh, she's on 16 count Dusk Ada from Picture This Plus. Love 16 count. Perfect medium between 14 and 18. This is also, I realized, on Picture This Plus, which does have a tighter weave, which I do like. Like, I didn't really notice stitching on this that it was actually an 18 count. Like some people do, that it's actually a higher count. I don't know if I just like am not experienced enough, but I think my stitches look really good on this. I use the Nerd hoop, so you can see some hoop marks, but I'm not like super concerned. I'm hoping it'll come out when I iron it. I've actually never ironed anything before, so I will be practicing on another WIP before I do this guy. But yeah, the needle minder is from Etsy. It's a little D20. I have like a pack of 3. And yeah, not much else to say about this guy other than it's slowly killing my soul. And it's a big part of my 2025 plans. Like, this is going to be finished by Christmas, but I feel like my experience with this has made me really think about what I want to stitch next year. I do think this is like a really beautiful chart. I think it's really cute, cool. It's like originally stitched on beige Ada, but I wanted it to be in black because my brother goes like overnight camping a lot and backpacking, so I wanted it to be like a night scene. I do think the colors like are super bright on the black, which kind of stressed me out in the beginning. Like the mountains, I think, look very blue in a non-mountainy way. But I think overall, I'm very happy with it. I did realize I went on the Tiny Modernist site recently and it's not on there anymore. So I don't know if it's like a retired chart. I don't know why they would do that. But yeah, I like did not see it. I think you can get it from some other places right now, but you really cannot get the PDF from their website, which is kind of crazy. So that's Adventure Awaits. Next up is my love, my child, my baby, and that is Move Forward in Love by Modern Folk Embroidery. I love this guy. It's upside down. I started this in June of this past summer for Pride Month, and I just think it's so gorgeous. It's a little washed out in my phone camera right now. I'm trying to get you like a little closer, but it is on 16 count Celestine, nope, that's another one. 16 count Violet Fizz Ada from Atomic Ranch. And I really like this Ada. I think it's really fun to stitch on. And I just think it's so beautiful. I will put up a picture of what the chart looks like. I'll try to do that for all of these. But this is my first Modern Folk embroidery. It's also my first like samplery piece. And I think it's really fun. I'm using just one thread from Dying for Sass on Etsy. I don't know if like it's the thread that I would pick now that I know about so many other different options, because it was pretty pricey, but I'm really happy with the way that it looks, and it is a really beautiful thread. Like, this is all just one thread, and I kind of wanted that, like, I wanted parts of it to kind of blend in with the back of the fabric that's very purple, and then parts of it to really stick out as the green. Purple is like a very sapphic color, so I wanted it to have like a purpley vibe. And then even though I just said I don't really like nature, I kind of wanted it to have like a natural vibe. So I'm really happy with this one. I am only 15.3% complete with it. I've only done 806 stitches out of 5,268. So a lot to go. But I don't really have any set plans for this piece. I just like to stitch on it when I want to stitch on it, which has not been as much because I've spent all my time stitching on Adventure Awaits, but I still love her. And I really love like a monochromatic piece. I think I like always want to have one of them going when I finish this guy. So then after I like was working on those over the summer, kind of going into fall, like in September, I saw Megan Babauta, the Seattle stitcher. Love her. Love the girlies. She was like really on a kit kick, and she had all these videos about these kits that she was trying, and this is when I decided that I really wanted to try a full coverage kit. Have not yet. Getting it for Christmas. But I decided that I wanted to try just like a kit in general to see how I would like it. Like a smaller one to see, because obviously full coverage kits are like an insane amount of stitches and they can be quite pricey. So I just wanted to test out like a smaller kit to see how I liked it. And so I chose this chart Tulip by the Magic Needle. I started it on August 31st. I think it's really beautiful. Tulips are my favorite flowers, and I really enjoyed Ignore the Hoop Work. Like I said, I don't know how to iron. And I'm scared too. I really like this chart. I think it's super beautiful. I think it's very cool that it's just like one thing. And then there's so much dimension and shading because you're so zoomed in on the tulip. Like when you're stitching on it, it's just like, wow, another blob of color. And then you pull back and you're like, oh my God, it's a petal. So I have really enjoyed working on this. I'm in a bit of a standstill with it because I have put so much work into it. It's on 14 count kit Ada, and one thing I realized is I do like to have like a combination of counts. I'll get into it a little bit more in my intro, but basically I can't really stitch for very long because my hands will hurt. And so I find that having a variety of counts is good, because then when I'm having a higher pain day, it's easier to stitch on 14 count and I can stitch for longer. But if I'm feeling like I want to do, like I'm feeling fine and I want to do a 16 count, then I'll do that. Or if I want like a super fancy, beautiful stitching project, then I will do it on 18 count with the knowledge that it will just take me a long time. And so I like that because this is a kit and it came in 14 count Aida, I have like a little bit of variety. I'm obsessed with her. Tulips are my favorite flower. I will say, I think the Magic Needle is a Russian company. I did buy it from this random cross stitch website that was having like an end of inventory sale or something. I don't even think it exists anymore. I don't really like to buy from Russian websites because of the war, and so I'm not sure I would recommend it. I also really don't like that the pattern is really small and it's on like, the best way I can describe it is like shiny paper, so you can't mark it, which I also find very frustrating. And so that's one thing I don't love. I do really love that for the Magic Needle kits, their cover images are the actual stitched product and not just a mock-up like most are. And so that is something that I do really enjoy about these kits, but I'm not sure how you feel about buying from like a Russian company. I'd have to do like more research before I purchased another kit from their company to see like where their headquarters were and all of that. So yeah, Tulip, love her. Originally had a goal to finish her by the end of this year, but that's not going to happen. But she is getting really close to a finish, I feel like. It's obviously a paper pattern, so I don't know what percentage I'm at. But she's beautiful. Next up, I don't have that many WIPs because for the longest time, all my stitching went towards making gifts for my friends. And I'm on my last 2 gifts. That Christmas present, and I went through a round of birthdays, and this is the last birthday. Yeah, it's a little octopus. It's for my friend Jen. I just thought she's like cool, and I thought the octopus was cool, and I stitched another gift for another one of our friends on the same fabric, so I thought that was kind of cool that we all have a piece from the same fabric. I did that with that 14 count Aida from Michaels, with some of my other friends. But yeah, I don't recommend this designer, so I'm not going to say it. I really think it's an AI generated pattern, if I'm honest. Like, the actual pattern itself was just blocks of colors, and it didn't make a lot of sense with like the stitching path. But this is on 16 count Celestine by Fiber on a Whim. And I'm going to be honest, I like this Aida. I think it's pretty. It's definitely lighter than it was in the photos, which is fair. Like, it's Aida. It's not going to pick up dye as much, but it's lighter than I wanted. I wanted it to be more of a neutral where you could see white on it, and it's really hard to stitch white on this. As you'll see in another project that I just realized I skipped. Oops. Well, I started this one on September 17th. It is 94.7% done. I literally have 40 stitches left on it, but because the pattern is not good, I'm so lost in it. And I have to put like orange stitches in to finish out these headphones, and I don't understand where. So I've been kind of avoiding it, but I really need to get back to it because my friend's birthday was like 3 months ago. And then once I'm done with the birthdays. And all my stitching is for me, which is the goal. Like I said, I don't love to cut fabric, so I'm just now realizing I don't have one of my WIPs. I'm just gonna put a picture up of the pattern. It's on the same fabric, and it is Revenge Orca by Quirky Quaker. Like I said, on the same fabric. It's 81% of the way done. If you look at the pattern, I basically just have to do the rest of the yachts and then the words. I think this pattern is so fun. I think it's really funny. I like saw it and started stitching it immediately. I started it July 14th, and the only reason that I'm super behind on it is because stitching white on this fabric is not the move. So yeah, I'll just insert a picture because I have no idea where that WIP is now that I think about it. Next up, I am kind of in my eBay era right now, and I really wanted to find cross stitch in a thrift store, so I went to this super cool place called Austin Creative Reuse, and they had a fully kitted project from Dimensions. I will insert a picture here, but I honestly wouldn't recommend it, and I don't even know if you can buy it. I'm sure you can't buy it anymore, but I don't even know if they sell it on eBay because it's a outlined pattern instead of a stamped pattern or a like counted cross stitch pattern, and I don't like that. This is not, is it like, no, it's like this. The thing that I don't like about this is that the outlines are just stamped on the fabric and they're not actually like in line with the Aida. It's 14 count Aida and it's like a 14 count Aida. So the Dimensions kit wanted me to do it in 3 strands. You can't loop start with 3 strands, so I said no. And I think my stitching looks okay on it, but just to like zoom you in, like these are like organic shapes, like they're circles, but obviously the Aida is a grid, and so you kind of have to like decide how you want to go. And I just find it like very frustrating to work on, and so this one is in timeout. I also was working on it as a possible gift, and I'm really gifted out. Tired of working on gifts. And it's quite big. I don't know. I was like also using it as a stitch to do at my job. I have 2 jobs. And now I like associate it with my job, which I don't want. That's the job that I don't like. So she's in timeout for right now. I would not recommend these kits under any circumstances. The colors are pretty though. Next up, this is my second to last WIP. It's a very small. And I got this guy off eBay because like I said, I'm kind of in an eBay mood. And this is my D&D stitch. So I play D&D with my friends and I like stitch during it because if you play D&D, you know that there's a lot of downtime when you're arguing with your friends over what path to take and sidestepping the dungeon that your dungeon master put together for like 3 hours or during battle. So I like to stitch during D&D and I wanted like a dedicated stitch for it. And so I got this stitch. It's the Wizard off, and it's the Dimensions Wizard by Dimensions. And this must be a later kit or something. Like it's counted cross stitch and I love it. It's super cute. I've only got like a little bit of gold here, like a tiny start, because you can see there's like a moon in the background or something, and I really want to outline it so I have good fill-in for D&D sessions. But because it's the holidays, I haven't been playing D&D that much, and so I started this December 13th, and I've just got like a tiny little start that I'm hoping to do more on in my next D&D session. So yeah, love this guy. I have another eBay kit that I'm planning on starting in the new year that I'm very excited about. But yeah, I love to go on eBay and look at the kits. I definitely have a wish list, but I'm hitting pause for right now because I need to work on my current stuff. That brings me to my last WIP. It's still in the hoop because I was literally working on it like 2 hours ago. And it is Capybara Tea Time by Needlelot Designs. It was one of their Patreon patterns. So basically they have a Patreon where you subscribe for $5 a month and then you get a free pattern every month. And I saw this, subscribed to their Patreon, got the pattern. I honestly, their next one is like Mothman, and I'm not a big Mothman person, sad to say. So I'm not sure if I'm going to keep my subscription, but I love, 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 love this pattern. I'm sure it'll be right there. Working on his little butt right now, and then the teacup, and I just started working on the leaf. I think it's super cute. I started this guy yesterday, so I've only worked on him for 2 days, and I've already got 295 stitches done, which is outrageous for me. So I'm feeling very pleased about it. I think it looks really good on this Celestine. It's on Celestine Aida by Fiber on a Whim. All my projects are in the same cut. So yeah, I just think they look really good. Something about this pattern I feel good about on this Aida versus the other ones were kind of annoying. I think this like weave is just like a little looser. Maybe because I started with Picture This Plus, so it was probably like between a 16 and an 18 count. But I think it's super cute, super fun. Yeah, I don't have a lot to say other than I love her and I love capybaras. And I love watching them in baths. They are so cute. The San Antonio Zoo has a baby capybara, and I'm thinking about going to see it for my birthday. But yeah, those were all my WIPs. So hope you enjoyed them. Not a ton. I think it's like, I don't know, 11. I'll have to count. But I have some big plans for 2025 that I will be getting into in my next video. But yeah, so this is now that we've gone through my WIP parade, I guess a little bit more about me and this channel. I named this channel the Blue Box Stitcher because I'm obsessed with Doctor Who and his little blue box. I actually plan on starting a Doctor Who sampler next year that I'm very excited about. So you have that to look forward to. And I wanted to start Flosstube because I watch copious amounts of Flosstube and I love it. And I started posting about my stitching on TikTok, which was enjoyable, but like no one on TikTok wants to watch a 7-minute video of me ranting about the Dimensions kit. And then TikTok is also getting banned. So I was like, I think this is a sign from the universe to start a Flosstube. The first Flosstube I ever watched was Cam the Stitcher, and I'm obsessed with her. I'm obsessed with all the girlies in like a fun, non-parasocial kind of way. And I also really like Cross Stitch the Globe, the Thread Gremlins, Wild Woman Crafts, and yeah. Like I said at the beginning, my name's Catherine. Right now, I'm actually in my childhood home for the holidays. I grew up in Washington, D.C., but I live in Austin now, and I moved there about 3 months ago, and I do communications and media work for a hockey team, but I have a very like stressful and time-consuming job. I actually work 2 jobs, and so I really like my off days to be off, and I love cross stitching on them and having a good time. I like to cross stitch and watch mostly hockey. I watch a lot of Flosstube. I watch some BookTube. I'm a big reader. These are my bookshelves that I love behind me. One thing about me is I am chronically ill. Fun times. It is what it is, but it does mean that my stitching is like a little bit hindered. So I am not going to be someone who gets home from work or has an off day and stitches for like 3 hours and does like 1,000 stitches. Love Crafty Gamey Jamie with all my heart and soul. I cannot live the life that she lives with her stitching. That's crazy. The amount of stitches that she did on that Hade Sal piece, oh my god, Mary Mushroom or something, that would take me years. So I'm kind of like a slow and steady stitcher. I can stitch around like 80 to 150 stitches at a time, and I just like to have slow and steady progress on my stitching. I love doing it. It brings me a lot of happiness. Watching Flosstube brings me a lot of happiness, and I love the community that is created here, so I wanted to join. But I think I'll probably post like once a month because, again, I don't have that much to show after 2 weeks. But I'll post like Flosstube extras in between. We'll kind of like feel it out as we go. I just started my Notion up, so I'm really excited about that and tracking my stitching a little bit more. And yeah, I hope you guys are as excited as I am to join this journey. And if you have any questions below, let me know. I don't really know what else to say, so I'm just gonna go. Happy holidays!